On Friday, we finished our 5th read aloud of the school year, The Cobra Song by Supriya Kalkar. This is intense. Last chapters, we were on the edge of our seats. Holy smokes. These are the 5 books we've read aloud. Cobra Song, Strange Case of Origami Yoda, The Real Deal, The Jump-Based Starfish. An amazing collection of books. This is so much a big part of our story as a classroom this year. And I thought to myself, we only have 6 weeks left in the school year. We are probably only going to read, the state testing and field trips and field day, we're probably only going to read one more middle grade novel between now and the end of the year. And I thought to myself, I don't know if all of our middle school teachers read aloud. I know they have different schedules, different time things, different requirements and things that they have to get done. This could be the last book these kids ever have read aloud to them for the rest of their life. Isn't that intense? Isn't that scary? Like, this decision that I make could be vital. The book that I pick could be the one that leads them to a lifelong love of reading. You could take them over to the top of the mountain where their reading life just goes to the next level. This is a huge decision. And I stressed about it all weekend. What do I read? What do I read? What do I read? I must tell you the books that I thought about reading to my 5th graders, and then I will share with you the book that we started reading today, why I picked it, and my hope for our last read aloud. So picture this, the kids come back into class after lunch and recess and all that, and I talk to them like, we're going to start what might be our very last read aloud, what might be the last book that you ever have read aloud to you. And I told them that I picked a bunch of books as possibilities that we could read to end the year. And then I just basically went through them all. I said, we could read Alan Gratz's Refugee. I know so many of you have fallen in love with Alan and his books. This book is told from the perspective of 3 different people. We could listen to the audiobook. We could sit on the carpet, press play on like a little Bluetooth speaker, and you could hear these amazing 3 narrators read this awesome book. Or I could read The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise, because Dan's book is just so captivating and engaging, and Coyote is one of the most incredible characters you will ever meet. Or I could read Inside Out and Back Again, one of the greatest novels in verse ever. And then right when the school year ends, the sequel to this book comes out, and that could just springboard you into an amazing summer of reading. Or I could read Ghost, which was a beloved book read by so many of my 5th graders last year, but not as many this year. So maybe reading Ghost would introduce you to Jason Reynolds, an author that you can read for the rest of your life. And then maybe you will read the other books in the track series. Maybe I could read aloud to you, Frindle, because most of you have never read one of Andrew Clement's books. And he is such an amazing author that so many of you, if you just gave him a chance, would fall deeply in love with his books. And this is the story at a school with one of the most interesting teachers you will ever meet, and these kids and what they do with this brand new made up word. Oh, it's so good. And then I said, or I could read to you what I believe is the greatest book ever written for children. One of my favorite books ever to read aloud to kids. Holes. Maybe I'll read you Holes, and we'll get a chance to go on this amazing journey that I've been on with so many of my 5th grade students over the years. So many amazing books. Which one should we pick? We picked none of these. None of them. And I call them over the carpet where our next read aloud is waiting, and I'll take you over there in a moment. But I will say one of the things that was really amazing that I didn't anticipate was I book talked 5 books in the span of 2 minutes to them. And I had a kid who was super intrigued by Frindle, and he read a ton of Frindle during the day, and other kids were adding some of these other titles to their to read list. So it was a really fun way to build the anticipation of this last read aloud. Then they came and they joined me sitting here on the carpet, and I explained to them that we would be reading Jasmine Warga's A Rover's Story, and how when I read this book last summer, I thought of them. I thought about my new class coming, and the entire time I read this book, I thought about what it would be like to read it aloud to these kids that I had never met, and how whenever I get a new book, I put it in the classroom library, I book talk it, I want them to get excited about it, especially if it's a book that I love as much as this one. But this book, I almost hid from them. I kept it over by my desk the entire year, worried that if 1 or 2 kids read it, that it would just spread like wildfire, which is a good thing. But I just held on selfishly to wanting to read this story aloud to them, to share this story with them, to get a chance to experience the magic of this tale with this group of kids that I now know and love so well and so much. So what will probably be the last read aloud of our 5th grade year, Jasmine Morga's A Rover Story.